All right. So, well, this is cool. Over on the Steam page, it mentions right here, cross-platform multiplayer. It's amazing, right? Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine a modern day fighting game. I could fight the little kidlets on the other platforms. It's amazing. I'm aware. I'm aware. You know, I'm aware that obviously consoles have adults that play on them too. And as a respectable adult, I understand. Listen, man, on this channel and all my channels that I talk about stuff, I'm PC first, right? So in that regard, I'm always going to pimp the PC community first, especially for fighting games, because we are already behind the 8 ball, but we are up and coming. We are getting stronger. We are mighty. Hang on. Hang on. What am I used to do in the old days? Hang on. Anyway. I'm overtired, I'm allowed. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Right? It's about time. It should have been there even in MK11, but it wasn't. So, you know, it's so weird. NetherRealm are always behind the 8 ball when it comes to networking and stuff like that. Now, I don't know how their system is going to work in MK1, but just as a thought. So obviously, you know, cross-platform play, that's great. There's not much else to talk about that. But like, I want them to see them bring in things like, you know, yes, you can just activate looking for a player and then you go do other things in the game, right? And they've had that sort of thing in fighting games for a while. It's something that comes from MMOs where, you know, I could be running around the world in an MMO doing questing and stuff, but I can also be queued for a dungeon. I can be queued for a PvP battle or a battleground or whatever the hell is in the game, right? I don't have to sit there in a damn room or sit there in some multiplayer screen until I find a match, right? You should be able to just tick the box and go do other things, and when it's ready, it lets you know, you join, you just, you know, disband it, whatever, ignore. So you have all those, you know, you have all that choice there for you, right? Because obviously, like, you know, if you're playing, like, say, Invasions mode and, you know, you're into it and stuff, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind throwing a PvP match. Right, there should be options there to be able to enable that no matter what part of the screen you're in, right? Essentially an overlay that no matter where you are, you can queue for something to be able to fight. And this is where NetherRealm's been behind the 8 ball for quite a while. So hopefully that changes. I know people played obviously the online beta and stuff, and you know, but that, I'm assuming that simply just would have been instant search for a player, you know, rather than rooms and, you know, lobbies or whatever, you know. One of the best online MK I've ever seen is in MK9. Remember, you go into the online part, and it was kind of cool actually, because like, even though again we couldn't do other stuff while waiting, we could like, you know, join in on a King of the Hill and watch, you know. I liked how Shao Kahn was in the background, and then, you know, when you did certain menus, he'd sort of like pop up, you know, his hand would open up or whatever. Like, that was kind of cool. So I liked that. Like, I actually thought the online lobby was pretty good. I want to do reviews of like UI for fighting games as well. I just keep coming up with all these ideas to micro break down a fighting game in all like really cool aspects, apart from combos. There's so much more about a fighting game that I'm far more interested in than, you know, having like my girlfriend leave me because I did a 50%er with Johnny Cage, and I'm sitting there going, it's amazing, it's so good, want to have sex. What? Why are they leaving? Right? That's what it's like, man. No respectable girl stays with someone that just thinks that combos are everything. Right? You want to know why? Because usually if they're good at combos, they're not good at being multitaskers in other parts of life. That's why. Because the girl sits there and they're like, how can you do this? How is it that you can use all these fingers to play a video game, but you can only use one on me? I'm just saying, man. With age comes experience. Listen, man. I'm going to come up with my own funnies. And I will continue to come up with my own funnies. If you decide to be on this channel and watch my videos, then you're just going to have to partake in the insanity. Alright? Now, as far as like cross-platform multiplayer goes, going back to that, because I guess there's a little bit you can talk about. Obviously, things are we going to have notifications for people that are connected wired connection or wirelessly. I like having a few more options in case, you know, of backing out of a match, right? So, you know, I think up to a certain point, you're able to uncommit, right? So if you're like, you know, if you've chosen like your stage and then boom, you're in. But up to that point, you should be able to back out and cancel out because something might happen in the real world and you got to go attend to it, okay? And then you get a loss simply because it committed you instantly, right? I think we need a little bit more nuance, you know, a lot more nuance than that, right? You know, to allow people just in case the baby's crying or dog poos on the floor, you know, you got to go wee-wees, right? There's a whole bunch of things that you may need to just back away from. It's like, oh, I can't do it right now, cancel, right? And that should be it. In fact, you know what? You should be able to cancel before you throw the first punch, right? So for example, like as soon as it goes round one fight, you press start, leave, okay? Nobody gets a win, nobody gets a loss. It's just a null match. I think I'd like to see that in there, okay? Yeah, so that would be cool. Obviously having it so that, you know, we can select. I'm assuming when they go cross-platform, they're just going to dump us all in together. Now on Switch, you can connect it up via network cable, right? And that's fine. It's just that most people probably don't, right? So can we have options to choose what platforms we want to actually engage with? Or are they just going to force us all together? But then if they force us all together and some people are using their consoles in a wireless fashion, do we get the choice to be able to opt out of those connections? Other fighting games allow you to choose certain connection qualities. I see no difference here. It should be that way, like 100% standard. And yeah, so apart from those things, like, you know, it's good news, right? I'm just curious about how it's all going to be set up. You know, like, I don't want it bare bones either. Like, you know, it'd be kind of nice, like, you know, when you look at the way they did MK9's online section, MK10's, to a degree, was scaled back, I think, a little bit, but we had that kind of like online, offline mode with the factions, you know, and you choosing your faction and stuff. I actually didn't mind that concept. That wasn't too bad. You know, I actually didn't mind that. That wasn't too shabby. So I'm curious about how this is going to end up looking. Like I said, I'd like to be able to review like the actual UI layout. You know, going through all the menus in a fighting game and seeing how they're laid out and the intricacy and stuff like that. Because obviously navigation is a huge factor when you play any game. You have to know how to get around, and there has to be ways to make it seem like, yeah, okay, this is where I go. So, but yeah, no, that is good. Obviously slight worries against if you're LAN versus Wi-Fi. Yeah, you know, being able to cancel out of a match even right to the point before anyone does any damage, I think would be good. Or, you know, like if it's coming up going round 1, fight, whatever, you know, you can press start and then leave and then nobody gets a win or a loss. I think that'd be great. Yeah. So, but we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to know, unless somebody leaks early. There's rumors that this game is going to go on sale earlier than I think the early access. So we're going to start seeing, we may start seeing a lot of stuff within the next 4 to 5 days, if that's true. Which means NetherRealm have got to get off their ass and just pump out these last trailers to keep us interested, you know, keep us focused on them and not leakers and stuff. Well, not the leakers so much, but like I like covering leaks. What I mean is, like, you know, I want to be introduced to the new, like, to the returning characters or whatever through a trailer. You know, not like a blurry picture that somebody took with their Nokia phone from the 90s, right? So that's what I mean. Anyway, guys, catch you next time.